bombshells, busties, bouncers, bobbies, Bronskis, buttons, mops, spooks, bullets, busters, Betty booms and big boppers, bonbons, bongos, boulders, beanbags, balloons, bebops, billabongs, butterball. We're still practicing tactics that will help us identify liars, just a different type of liar, and we won't be looking at their faces to do it. The theme today, natural knockers versus falsified fun bags. Because really... Broadway! Now that's the one! Now that's the one! Based on the force applied to Link's hand by the long shot, just the act of launching this device would, at minimum, break his fingers and his wrist, potentially some of his arm. After an injury like that, there is no way he would be able to hold on to the long shot's handle, let alone ride it across an open pit of hungry Tektites with one arm. Dr. Wily, you know, evil genius out to conquer the world using his robot army, he's not the one to blame in these games. And at the end of the game, surprise, surprise, Rock has Wily begging for mercy, but this time it's a little different. Mega's not having any of Wily's pleas, but Dr. Wily reminds him, robots can't hurt humans, that's the way they're programmed. This brings up the question of machine ethics. Probably the best known example of a robot moral code is Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. Setting up airtight rules like these, where there is no possibility of a machine misinterpreting what we meant, is essential to avoid the prospect of a robot uprising a la Terminator 2. But based on the Mega Man 7 ending, it's clear that Rock wasn't programmed in a way that forces him to adhere to this sort of code. Robots can't hurt humans, that's the way they're programmed. Everything filters back to Dr. Light. Every robot master, every wily scheme, every life lost. It seems like an extreme claim when there is very clearly a villain in the character of Dr. Wily. Oh, he wasn't a skilled programmer and couldn't create the artificial intelligence like Dr. Light could. He was able to manipulate the robots and recode them to do his bidding. Forward to adult Mario, hopping once more atop his trusted and loyal friend to save the day and... wait, he just punched him. Look again. Mario punches the Yoshis to get them to extend their tongue. And let's not forget that Mario will drop a Yoshi into a pit without hesitation, just to get a couple extra inches out of his jump. A pit that, time and time again, Luigi doesn't get any thanks at the end of Mario is Missing either. After Luigi's completed this quest, Mario just strolls out and stands there. Stands there. No thank you, no nothing. What does he do? Walks up to him, applauding, laughing, slaps him on the back, and then grinds his shoe into his brother's foot. So let's talk for a minute about Mario the Man Whore. Sure, we all know that Princess Peach is Mario's main squeeze now, but it's easy to overlook his flings with other women. Take for instance, Pauline. The quiet, peace-loving mushroom people, aka toads, were turned into mere stones, bricks, and even field horsehair plants, whatever that is, blah-de-blah-de-blah. The only one who can undo the magic is the Princess Toadstool. There you have it. Each and every brick you shatter is someone you were supposed to be saving. And the game takes it one step further. His behavior with a Mega Mushroom. Look at his utter lack of concern for anything in his way, knowing full well that each and everything in front of him is an actual resident of the kingdom. He even celebrates his massacre when he finishes. And before you call me out on it just being a hat, yes, he removed it in the TV series, but that's a non-canon source. In the games, it has always been firmly planted on his head, no matter how fast. The manual introduced the Goombas, or should I say the little Goombas, as mushrooms who betrayed the Mushroom Kingdom, implying that the Mushroom Kingdom is actually their homeland, and that it's the Goombas who were the land's namesake in the first place.
I did that on purpose.
Sure.
Peach is Rosalina's mother. This passage also provides us another clue as to the geography of this hill. There's a single tree on top of it. Find that tree on top of that stargazing hill that's right down the road from Peach's castle and with the yellow, purple, and white flowers, and you've got yourself a slam dunk. And would you believe it? At the top of that hill, the hill that Mario just so happens to start the game at, the hill that matches all the qualities we've been looking for so far, what's at the top of that hill? A single tree. Whew, did you feel that? I just got a chill down my spine. All the signs are there. Peach's hair, earrings, mouth, and crown in the illustrations. The genetics contribute. Clearly I've overlooked something. Or I'm just running out of time and have to... Rosalina and Peach can be practically the same age. One of the consequences of his theory was the concept of time dilation, or the fact that time slows with motion. The faster you move, the more difference occurs, and at speeds close to the speed of light, time practically stops. Now look at Rosalina's ship. It travels between galaxies at speeds approaching the speed of light. So for her, time moves much slower relative to the time on Earth. Look at the epilogue of Rosalina's story in English. She dedicates her life to the Lumas, vows to revisit Earth every 100 years, and flies away. But the French version of the story has an extra little detail worked in. Everything is about the same, except for the second to last page. It has a little bit more text worked in. Well, to disprove every last doubting Wario out there, Yoshiaki Koizumi, that's about as good as I'm going to get at pronouncing that name, the writer of Rosalina's storybook, said during an interview that Rosalina was originally intended to be related to Princess Peach. There. Boom. Done. I've shown you how Rosalina is Luigi's daughter and how Toad may be a parasitic plague on the kingdom, and the first appearance of fan favorite, Rosalina. Rosalina, who loyal theorists will know is actually Luigi and Peach's daughter. Peach chooses Luigi over Mario, as we discussed in my two-part video on the subject of Jumpman. The Mario we see in Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. is not the same person as the Mario we see in the Super Mario series. The sexual maturity of Cranky Kong proves that it can't be the case. Now get this, it is extremely likely that the mother of the Super Mario Brothers is Pauline, Mario's damsel in distress from the original Donkey Kong game. The Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, where after years of absence, Pauline makes her grand return as Mario's quote-unquote special guest. For this, we're gonna have to dig deep into the lore and leave no stone unturned. Every official source is on the table. We can now actually chart out the entire Mario bloodline from Jumpman and Pauline to Rosalina. And there you have it, 3 Donkey Kongs, 2 Marios, and 1 timeline that would make even George Lucas tear his hair out. Dulcim's Yoga Fire, Blanca's Electric Thunder, Zangief's balls to the face. That's what it's called, right? The teabag spin, the crotch rocket, 69 suplex. Anyway, the one how can Miyamoto say they're not related, but then the manual in its original language say that they are? Both of these things can't be right, right? Issues in 1992, they ran a comic called Super Mario Adventures, which told the typical story of, you guessed it, Bowser kidnapping Peach with the help of the Koopalings. But what makes this comic special is that in it, Bowser finally explains his motivations. Why he does it. But I've been thinking you need a mother, so I've proposed to Princess Toadstool. Now, I recognize it isn't canon, but this ties together everything so neatly. Bowser is an orphan. You removed it in the TV series, but that's a non-canon source. This guy is Luigi. Well then, I just I just have no words for you. No words, I say! Now, to understand why this is important for Luigi, we have to talk about hypnosis. In all the official game wikis, Nastasia is referred to as having instantaneous hypnotic powers, and Luigi is referred to as being hypnotized. In game, though, Nastasia refers to her powers as both hypnosis and as brainwashing. So, which is it? There are three major types of brainwashing that exist: educational, persuasive, and suggestive. Nastasia barely has to blink her laser eyes to change Luigi into Mr. L. It's not possible that this is the educational method. So we move down the spectrum to persuasive brainwashing. Once Luigi becomes Mr. L, he starts actively making evil decisions all on his own, without Nastasia interfering. So clearly that's not it either, meaning we have to move to the third and final form of brainwashing, suggestive brainwashing, aka hypnosis. As I mentioned, Nastasia herself says that her power is hypnosis. But what does that actually mean? Okay, great, so Luigi is hypnotized. That explains what happens to him and why he becomes the evil Mr. L, right? Actually, no. It turns out that Luigi's behavior can't be explained away by hypnosis. In all the official game wikis, Nastasia is referred to as having instantaneous hypnotic powers. And pooping is not a group activity. Speaking of, in high school, the group of guys in my show choir would have this thing where they would all run to the bathroom together and have a poop party. I never did it. I was very confused. Sorry, back to Pokemon. What do you think the gender differences were? Do you think that girls were more likely to choose one team over another because of color? Or guys to choose a certain team because one of their friends also did? Well, in an incredibly surprising twist, guys and girls showed practically no differences in the reasoning behind why they chose the teams that they were on.
Oh, there's a big surprise! That's an incredible... I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise!
But where things got really interesting was when I looked at the personality distribution across Pokemon Go's 3 teams. If you're an extrovert, then chances are you picked Team Valor. Although every team had more introverts than extroverts, relative to the other teams, Valor had the highest percentage of outgoing, socially engaged players. People eager to engage with other goers. And thinking about everything we've talked about, this makes total sense. Extroverts like action and excitement tend to be more competitive and show more aggression in their games. Now, look at the way Valor is described in the game. It's a team built around strength and honing your skills in combat. On the other end of the spectrum, Team Mystic had the fewest extroverts of all 3 teams. This again makes sense though, since the team's emphasis is all about gaining wisdom and intelligence, rather most gamers are introverted, and so Mystic's emphasis on thoughtful strategy most aligns with the bulk of people actively playing the game. Valor is also the odd trainer out. There's also one more personality trait that Team Instinct had more than any of the others: the perceiving type.
It's like that old Animaniacs sketch. Now it's time for another good idea, bad idea.
It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Good idea.
For once, I'm doing something a little different. A non-review, because I refuse to watch it. I'll tell you why.
Bad idea.
Ghostbusters 3! It's like they got all their complaints ready for Ghostbusters 3. They were ready to...
The end.
He notices that the player must want to go home and says, quote, "I know the feeling." He then continues, "Maybe sometimes it's better to take what's given to you," as though he ended up in Underworld by accident. And in a genocide run during his boss fight, he says, quote, "Look, I gave up trying to go back a long time ago." End quote. And before you say he means going back to the surface world, that's clearly not the full story. His very next line of dialogue is, "And getting to the surface doesn't really appeal anymore either." Key word here is either. Yes, he seems to hail from the surface and wants to go back, but based on his dialogue, he no longer considers it his home. It's as though the surface world he once knew is gone, as though he's from a different time. It's pretty intriguing. So we're left with a being that appeared out of nowhere, presumably from the human surface, but from a different time period. Why would such an oddly specific item be included in this huge Easter egg of a room? Something that supposedly reveals the truth about Sans. Badges just aren't important in Undertale. And then it hit me. What if it wasn't from Undertale? What if this badge was from a completely different game and was, in fact, the most important badge in the history of gaming? the Franklin badge. Now, for those of you wondering what I'm talking about, the Franklin badge is a pivotal item from the Mother series. And look at the way he stands. I always thought it was awkward until I looked at the two characters side by side. Papyrus's curved arm and hand is a direct match to the curved arms of the Starmen in the Mother series. Now look at the way Sans always stands. Hands in his pockets, directly facing the camera. It's a very similar stance to how Ness is depicted standing in most marketing for the game.
I never thought that a gorilla's sexual maturity would be what ties together the entire Mario timeline.